Penny's love for Jesus was contagious, and it was a joy to pray and worship with her and Sean. When we first knew Penny, she was always with John, and those were special times. One of my favourite memories of Penny is how she referred to us as the gals, which always made us smile for obvious reasons. Another of my memories is of how she would try to show us something in the garden, but she never quite got the hang of where to point the camera, so it was a bit hit and miss if we saw anything, and we usually ended up all laughing. She was such a special person, and it was a joy to know her.
We started praying and worshipping with Sean, John and Penny about 4 years ago. It was lovely to get to know them. What a lovely couple, so passionate about Jesus. We got to meet Penny in person when she came over to England last year, and that was special. Penny loved to worship and often encouraged Sean to play his guitar so we could worship together. These times were precious and lovely to look back on. I can imagine Penny and John worshipping together in heaven.
When I think of Penny, for me, Penny just embodies joy and what it means to be filled with the joy of the Lord. She was just always full of songs, and it doesn't mean that things were always, easy or happy, but she just carried the joy of the Lord, and she shared that with all of us.
When I think of Penny, and I think John goes together with this because there was always a togetherness about them, was their hospitality and their love for us. I think I always felt loved, deeply loved by Penny, and safe and secure in her presence.
I don't really know exactly how it came about, but for our children, John and Penny were always known as Uncle John and Nana Penny, and they were just dear grandparents to our kids, and for us, pastors and mentors and friends.
So Auntie Penny had a passion for the Lord, and she lived her faith. It wasn't a Sunday thing, it was the whole thing. She had this continual awareness of God, and she would see a flower and it would remind her of God's beauty in his design, and some analogy would come to mind, and she'd share it with a smile and with passion, and it would be so real for her. I remember that about her fondly, and what she meant to me, she was the love of God to me, and she really was an example of what a life centered on Christ looks like. And that's a huge encouragement to my faith when I see real examples, just authentic examples. And she took an interest in me in primary school, and she taught me about the things of God and sowed those seeds into my life at that young age. What a ministry that was. And her message would be, run the race, follow hard after God. I think she would say God loves us, encourage us to see beauty in all God has made, just to marvel at it, and she would encourage us to live for eternity, not for the here and now. And she'd tell us to focus on the lost, and what a beautiful, beautiful example of Christ she was to all of us.
It is with deep sadness that Liz and I adjust to the reality of Penny's passing, but rejoice that she is with Jesus, who she loved and served over many years, together with John. We will always think of John and Penny together, inseparable. I first met Penny in the late 1960s at a friend's home in Bryanston. The Strawsons were neighbours. John had his eye on Penny right from that very first meeting. Over time, they grew more and more in love with each other and with the Lord. Penny had many gifts and talents. Her love for children, she was a born teacher of little people. Music, often strumming her guitar as she worshipped the Lord. A wonderful homemaker in the many homes that they lived in, always with a limited budget, but with plenty of imagination and creativity. Penn was also so hospitable, making us feel completely at home, including us in their lives wherever they were. We are especially grateful for the week we spent together in March 21, staying at the Butler's farm with John and Penny and Dot. Sadly, Les was not able to join us as he was so ill. A precious time of reminiscing about old times, walking and talking and laughing together. Oh, one last thing, Penny loved to talk.
A lot.
A lot.
I met Penny and John at Christchurch Hillbrow in 1970 on my return from a lengthy visit to Scotland where I'd grown up. We were part of the Crusaders Youth Group, a vibrant group of young people who loved Jesus. Penny was this beautiful bombshell. We girls were all in awe of her. Her stunning figure, her long blonde hair, vivacious personality, as well as John's fast car, of course. Penny, with John's help, played matchmaker and ensured that Richard and I met and subsequently fell in love. I will forever be grateful to them for introducing me to my wonderful husband, now 81 years young, and we've been happily married for 53 years and counting. A favourite memory from long ago is when Penny asked me to type her thesis as part of her final nursery school teacher's qualification. As a thank you gift, Penny gave me 20 rand, a lot of money in those days, and I bought my Amplified Bible with that money, and of course that Bible is well used and treasured. I'm forever grateful that Pen and I became dear friends, as well as being sisters-in-law. I will miss you always, dearest Pen, till we meet again.
Sean and Peter and your families, our deepest sympathies and prayers as you come to terms with the loss of your beloved mum. With much love from Liz and I, and from Mike, Steve and John and their families, and of course Dottie, our sister.
Shalom, shalom. Hello everyone. In South Africa, I'm sharing a message, my memories of Penny from Philippines. When I met Penny together with John in 1977 in Morocco, I was given a family away from home. We were introduced by a missionary friend because of a dream Penny had of a church in a garden. The church I was attending then had a garden. From there, they applied for pastoral position and they got accepted. Yet even at death, I imagine John went ahead of her to prepare for her a place in heaven. Well, we know that Jesus is already preparing a place for us all. In my memory, Penny is a musical person. One time I said to her, "Penny, you remind me so much of Julie Andrews from the movie Sound of Music." And she would laugh. She is also a plant lover, and she also knows each one by name. Even to me, it's just a grass. She has a name for it. She would tell me if this plant needs water or it needs the sun. Penny also is artistic. She used to assemble old greeting cards to transform them into a new one. She never misses birthdays too, like the members of the congregation. Each one would receive cards from her for birthdays. In the afternoon in Darbuaza, by the beach, we would stroll, or sometimes walk the dog, and would pick up stones and bring it home and do something creative with them. There are so much memories in my heart of Penny. These are only a few. Almost each day, even when I'm here in the Philippines, I remember her when I wake up, as she would also be meeting up with God. At the kitchen, she would be preparing food, and I would remember simple ingredients that she would do some concoction and come up with something nice and delicious. Or the way she would be talking to people in this gentle way. Penny's and John's mission accomplished in my life and in others' lives. So the Father in heaven calls them home. Thank you very much for listening and giving me this opportunity.
My sweeties, yes, we're here to celebrate Penny's life. She was a woman of colour. She loved her colour, clothes. She was a woman who loved Jesus. She'd bring Jesus into every conversation. She was a great encouragement, a real friend. She loved her Jono. They were side by side in everything they did. They danced, they sung, they worshipped, They had great fun and laughter together. They had a smile in every situation. She was a daughter of the king, and she knew that. They loved their family, so proud of the grandchildren. They loved well in every tribe, every nation. They made an imprint on every person's life they met. Once seen, never forgotten.
Hi, Claire here, Penny's daughter in love, as she used to call me. I just wanted to share a few memories I have of Penny, and the funniest ones, the best ones for me. My first meeting with Penny was in France, and we decided to cook some frog's legs together. We also went to Paris and bought same hats and walked up the Champs-Élysées. That was a lot of fun. I also remember stories, of course, like many of us, in Morocco, and one that comes to mind is when she insisted that we would sit in the middle of a river, because that's where the sunshine was in the spring, so it was nice and warm. She loved the sun, so she insisted that we should have a seat in the middle of a river on a drier part of it, but in the middle, and we had to hop over some bits of water to get to this table that she asked the cafe manager to put in the middle of the river. And then more recently, having my birthday here, she showed me the art of lighting a cigar. And really, that was something quite unexpected that she surprised me with. And she also thought that my little gift for my guest at my birthday table was a bowl of chocolate, when actually it was some dirt with some flower seeds in it, some flower bombs. And she decided to take a bite out of one of them. So just remembering her face after that was a lot of fun. Really, I will remember Penny for her quirkiness, and she was always up for something new and a challenge and something fun.
This is a little message from Sue Harvey in Birmingham in England. I met both John and Penny in Malta at a conference way back in 2008. And from that first contact, it was like a door was opened to go and visit them and take little teams to encourage them and to serve them in their ministry back in Morocco. And I took teams many times. And Penny was always such a good host. She made you feel welcome and very much part of the family from the moment you walked through the door. She was always very honouring of all who came to stay, and come they did from far and wide. Penny had a real heart of worship and was very honest and humble, always wanting to help others grow in their faith and love for Jesus. She had a passion for prayer, setting up a little prayer room at the top of the house in Morocco, where many encounters with God took place. She was not ashamed of the gospel, and so was always grateful when others came to pray and to encourage her and John and others in the church there to just make Jesus known. Her cooking was very tasty. It was always a delight to sit at the table with her and John, sharing a meal, plus sweet fellowship too, and we'd often sit round the table and end up having times of prayer and worship, which was always a great joy. I know that she sacrificed a lot in order to obey God. She really missed seeing the grandchildren as often as she would have loved, and she knew that that was part of the cost of following Jesus. So now, I'm sure she'll be in awe and wonder when she is rewarded by Jesus himself, and that the price that she paid, she will say is nothing compared to the wonder of being with him now. So may God bless you all. And it's sad for me, and of course for you, that she's no longer with us. But I'm just so grateful for having met her and had time with her, and to be able to appreciate what a wonderful woman of God she was. God bless you.
I'm so sad that I'm not there today, but I wanted to say one or two things about my Nana. What a crazy woman my Nana was. I think all of us can agree. As lots have said, she loved all the things that had the most colour, and she herself was the most colourful, beautiful, stubborn lady and full of the zest for life. And I'm so grateful that I knew her as long as I did, being her eldest granddaughter. I have so many memories of us in Morocco, and I have many memories of dyeing her hair pink, as she always liked. She always wanted a streak of pink in the front of her hair, and that brought me great joy. And I remember her being just the most crazy musical woman, and you couldn't, I mean, if you didn't hear her singing for about 10 seconds, you knew something was wrong, because she'd always have a new song up her sleeve. And I'm so proud to say that John and Penny were my Papaw and my Nana, and I will never forget the way they've impacted my growing up years. I'll sign off my video in the way that she would always sign off a FaceTime call, and it was like this. I love you! Lots of love to you all.
I have very precious memories of both your mum and your dad from my time in Morocco. When I arrived in 1999, I asked the Lord for a soulmate, and I went along to the church, and your mum was sitting sort of middle of the church, and I sat in the row behind her, and she was surrounded by children, and I knew, even looking at her from behind, this person is the answer to my prayer. This is my soulmate. And sure enough, we became very close friends very quickly, and I didn't know at that point that she was the pastor's wife. And they had a prayer meeting in their home every Saturday morning, and I would go along to that and stay for the whole weekend. Your dad taught me about accepting help from men. One of the things that he insisted on doing when he took me home on Sunday evening was he would open the door of the car, and I should just wait and be served in this way. It was very beautiful. And so fast forward towards my time of leaving, and your mom and I had a little bit of a dispute, and I chunted all day long about it in my own head. And in the evening, I said to the Lord, you've heard me ranting and raving. What do you think? Who do you think is right? Expecting an answer that it was one of us, but the Lord went straight to what matters to him. And that was how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. And I went to the prayer meeting on Saturday morning, and another good friend, Angie, could tell there was something not right with the two of us, even though we were each having a conversation with somebody else. She asked the Lord, and he said, birds of a feather clash together. The worship began, and your mom, Penny, came straight over to me to apologize, not because she was in the wrong, but because before we can worship the Lord, before you can bring that offering, you should make sure your relationships are right. So she came, and we apologized to one another, we were reconciled, and we worshiped the Lord together. A very important relationship and very important lessons learnt from your mom and dad. I give thanks for their lives and bless them that they're now having a wonderful eternity with Jesus.
If you want joy, you must sing for it. If you want joy, you must jump for it. If you want joy, you must laugh for it. Ha ha! The joy of the Lord is my strength. Amen. Thank you, everybody.